Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So today, I wanted to have a discussion about the problem with RWBY speeches in Volume 6. While some of them were done very well, others, well, not so much. So I want to take a look at both the good and the bad of RWBY's speeches, and how this can be improved in the future. So sit back, relax, I hope you all enjoy, and let's go ahead and get started. So, when looking back at RWBY's character, going back to volumes 4 and 5, RWBY didn't get very much focus. That was one of the biggest complaints and problems with volumes 4 and 5 was the fact that RWBY, as the main character, didn't see much of a spotlight at all. But in volume 6, the writers definitely tried to do better with RWBY's character, putting her more in the spotlight and giving her more focus, which was a good thing, and it was great to see RWBY really feel more like a character again. But at the very same time, Volume 6 also had some issues with RWBY's character, and those issues being some of RWBY's speeches. Now, while some of those speeches were very good, there were a few that weren't written so well, and they didn't come out as good as the earlier speeches that RWBY had, and there may have been a few too many in the final act of Volume 6. Now, let's look at the good first, and then we'll look at the bad. So, the good speeches within the volume were, for example, Volume 6, Chapter 1 on the train, when everybody is very skeptical of Ozpin, how Ozpin had hid another secret from them that he should have told them about the relic, and how the relic draws the Grim near to the relic itself. And so, what RWBY does in the situation when everybody is starting to have their issues with Ozpin, she puts the citizens as the priority, rather than trying to figure out the secret to Ozpin for their safety. Now, this was a good thing for RWBY to do, and it shows her as a leader trying to put the safety of the citizens first, rather than trying to figure out the secret about Ozpin, in which they could learn at any given time. So it showed RWBY's sense of responsibility when it comes to being a leader. Now, another one that was very important was whenever she took her role to step up and make sure that Jean, for example, didn't do anything bad to Oscar whenever she trusted Team Juniper with the truth of Ozpin and Salem. And after learning the truth, Jean becomes very furious with Oscar, and also he then starts to believe that Oscar may not be Oscar, and that Ozpin may actually just be acting as Oscar to throw them off. And that's when RWBY tells him to calm down. It's also similar to the other part when RWBY is talking to Oscar about how he is his own person, and that he is allowed to make his own decisions, that he can live his life the way he wants. So, the speeches in the first two acts of the volume, they were not bad. They did show some good character for RWBY, showing great leadership, responsibility, and that you are in control of your own life, rather than having to have somebody else make your decisions for you. It was very good to see RWBY know these things, and show her step up as a character. But not all of these speeches that RWBY had were well written at all. Some of them were just really badly written, and so let's go into that. So, the next problem is the Cordovan fight. This speech that RWBY had was bad, but then again, Jean's idea in general to steal an Atlas ship to go to Atlas was a terrible idea to begin with. So, to be fair, this was already a terrible plan to try to get to Atlas by stealing a Atlas ship from the Atlas military. Yeah, that was already the first bad idea. But when it comes to Cordovan, the problem here is that she didn't hear out RWBY and what they were trying to do. She didn't listen to them. So there's that, but at the same time, Cordovan was not in the wrong because she was doing her job. It was her job to make sure that nobody got into the borders of Atlas because they had sealed them off. But during this battle, RWBY has a speech to Cordovan, which is not exactly the best speech. Cordovan tells RWBY that they should quit and that they should be punished for their crimes, which is fair, considering they went against the Atlas military. But instead, with RWBY's speech, she just says no, and that because they have a mission, which she's not even completely telling Cordovan about, that they should get to go to Atlas because of their mission, because it's important, and completely keeps the rest of it in secret. But at the same time, RWBY at this point, as well as her friends, they're criminals for stealing an Atlas ship from the military. Yeah, to me, not the best time for RWBY to have been stating that she should go to Atlas despite her being a criminal at that point. But moving onward to the next speech that was not very good was the one that she had to Crow. Now, while her and Crow were starting to have issues because of his alcoholism, because of him finding out the truth about Ozpin, while he did blindly believe what Ozpin had told him in the past, at the same time, while this problem had been building up for Ruby, seeing her uncle behave in this manner, being depressed, being more drunk than usual, that made sense that there was a buildup here. Made sense that there was some sort of aggravation and frustration here. But at the same time, her speech is not good. And the reason why her speech to Crow was not a good one was more so because she stated that they did all the work here and that none of the adults did anything to help them. Now, that's obviously not true. Because looking at it, while Team RWBY, they have done their own fighting against the White Fang, for example, and Roman Torchwick, yeah, some of that they did do on their own. Now, that is true, but not every single last thing they did was just them. They did have adults help them over time. And the speech completely contradicts what has happened in the past. And that's not well written right there. Because we know for a fact that in the past, that the adults have helped Team RWBY in situations that they wouldn't have been able to fully take care of the entire situation by themselves. That they have needed help from veteran hunters, and we've seen that in the past. Ever since Volume 1, we have seen times to where a veteran huntsman has come to aid them in some way or form. Because, let's go all the way back through the volumes. Let's start with Volume 1. If it was not for Glenda Goodwitch, RWBY probably would have either been severely injured or could have died whenever she was trying to stop Roman and Cinder from escaping. When the dust explodes, RWBY didn't know what to do. And that's when Glenda comes in and puts that barrier around RWBY, protecting her from the explosion of the dust. For example, that's one case of the adults saving Team RWBY. Secondly, look at Volume 4. Look at what Crow has done. Despite the fact that RWBY did have her issues with Crow because of the depression that he went through in Volume 6 after finding out the truth of Ozpin, Crow did protect them from the Grimm. Back in Volume 4, seeing that they had help and that they were going to safely make it to their destination at Haven. Not only was he the one watching over them, but Nora even states that she was surprised that she thought that they would see more Grimm along the way. So Crow did protect them. Not only that, but let's look at Oobleck. Oobleck helped save RWBY during the conflict back at Mountain Glen. Not only that, but the Atlas military helped them whenever the train went to Vale and brought the Grimm there. Not only that, Volume 3 was just one big help from the adults because Team RWBY would never have been able to take care of that situation by themselves when the fall of Beacon happened. So really, RWBY was wrong within the speech about not needing the help from the adults. And here's the thing that I will give praise to. At least they were trying to give more focus and spotlight to RWBY, but they don't need to give her so many speeches. And not only that, but the speeches need to be well thought out and well written. I mean, how do you think Naruto's Talk no Jutsu actually started to work? It took him time. He had to work on that. It's not like he just built it up. And with RWBY, I'm not saying don't give her any speeches. That's not what I'm saying at all. But just kind of dial it back a little bit. Just kind of give her less speeches than she had in Volume 6. But at the same time, write them out well. Make sure that they make sense. Go over them. Revise them if you have to. Because when it comes to speeches and it comes to dialogue, dialogue can sometimes be hard to write. And I understand that. But just make sure that the speeches make sense. Make sure that they don't contradict anything. And there doesn't have to be a huge amount of speeches. There could maybe be 2 or 3 from RWBY, for example. There doesn't have to be just a cluster of them. You can just put a decent amount of them. But with Volume 7 being Wise's arc, this should be more of a time that they're going to focus more on her character than they are RWBY, for example. Not saying that they can't include RWBY having important moments, but this is Wise's time to shine in Volume 7, and hopefully they will do her character very well. Hopefully her arc will do well, and hopefully if there are any speeches given, there won't be more than there needs to be and that they'll make sense. Also, let's hope that Weiss does get the focus and spotlight that she does deserve in Volume 7, considering that Volume 7 is her character arc, and it will be the climax to that. So let's hope that they give Weiss more of a spotlight than RWBY, but let's hope RWBY doesn't get pushed out of the spotlight like she was in Volumes 4 and 5. Let's just hope every character gets the right amount of focus that they deserve to have. And let's hope that if Weiss does have any speeches, hopefully they'll make sense, and maybe there'll be about 2 or 3 of them and not too many of them. But anyways, let me know what you think down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments down below. But anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did enjoy, hit the video with a like, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, share this video with your friends if you found this informative or useful, and follow me on Discord. Link is in the description down below. But anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today, and remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you, and have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.